The Doug Rising Show. Well, the Doug Rising Show. Well, the Doug Rising Show. And I'm Doug Rice. I mean, I just want the roof coming. I want plaster coming off the phone. Oh, come on. All right. Hi. Oh, how you doing? Good morning. Doug Rice, don't drop your phones. I'm not paying for phones. Good morning. How are you? Welcome to the Doug Rice Show. That's me, just so you know. Are you looking? Yeah, you're looking. You see it cooking, but here's the deal. No one is asking Negroes a damn thing. You notice that? You notice how we are left completely out of the equation, out of the conversation, out of relation to anything going on in any nation. They ain't asking black folk shite. But hey, that's all right. Hey, I'll forgive them. Sure will. Sure will. How you doing this morning? 7:01 in the morning, 10/17/2023. And here you are listening to me. Thank you so much. My name's Doug Rice. Good morning. We have a sponsor. I'm going to say this again, folks. I live off your kind-heartedness. We got Twidware. Listen, I am all about negrosity. I'm all about furthering our own. I'm about Negro-centricity. And Twid, I call him Twid. Twid has a great lineup. You look at that right there, okay? Boom, let me pause it. For an example, if you take this Twidware Easy Graphic Pullover Hoodie, priced at a modest $49.99, after you have registered, provided your email, all of the information, you have no problem providing names like Gucci. Don't have me get Lucci on you. You ain't got a problem giving them Europeans all the info they need, so please go ahead and register at twidwear.com, TWIDWEAR. Now, let me stop right there before I go too far. TWID is an acronym. It stands for That's What I Do. Now, let me tell you, folks, you know what I do. I talk incessantly. Yeah, that's about it. So what you do is, after you've registered and given them everything you're going to get them white folks to get their European stuff, you feel me? I want you to go about picking out something real nice because it ain't too tough. Then I want you to take TDRS. That's the Doug Rice Show, you know it. You will get 10% off whatever you purchase. And that, that kind of takes care of the shipping in most respects. But hey, that's twidwear.com. It's a brand to protect. Yeah, they sell boxing gear. Let me just, I'm going to just stay here for a minute. He sent me some stuff. I don't know what sports gear is, but I know now the thickness, the quality of the material, and just the fact that it's a Negro. The fact that it is a Negro. I beg of you to support this enterprise. Please, he's been around for a long time, and he is the sponsor of this ride. All right, there we go. Twidwear skincare, Twid gear, Twidwear everywhere. I said go to twidwear.com. Do it now. All right, here we go, folks. 7:05, get your coffee, get your Folgers. This is the Doug Rice Show. Now, we're moving at a clip. We're moving at high speed, and I'm here to provide you all that you need. How do I do it? Well, brothers and sisters, I read. And I would hope to my voice you certainly heed. And here's the reason. Now, you see the season. You see what's happening out there, don't you? and you want to survive. If you don't listen, well, I don't know. Anyway. All right, so the war rages. People are dying. The Israeli government continues lying. The Palestinians keep on trying. And I mean, what is going on? Palestine was Judea. Palestine was a haven, the last vestige of Negroes. Now let's stop there. That word Negro. Today, we are going to delve into it exponentially. And I recommend that you share, that you hit the like button. I understand that does something to the algorithm in YouTube. Hit the like, the subscribe, the share. I don't know about the notification bell. You know what I say about the notification bell. It can go to hell because it doesn't work so well. But today, we are going to go over something called Nature Knows No Color Line. Now, I need to express this overtly to you. It's important that you understand this. This PDF that is available to you upon donation or simply request, you use how you want to get this PDF best. I do not care. I will send this PDF anywhere. Here's the reason why. This is one of the most guarded secrets out there. This is the least circulated publication, in my estimation, within the Negro nation. They got everything else. We got the Bible up to the shelf. We got Hebrews to Negroes up to our nose, and that's where it belongs, because there's more of those. But nature knows no color line. Let me remove this real quick so you see the whole line. J.A. Rogers is the writer, as you can see. Nature knows no color line. Now listen to me. We're going to go over this document briefly, and we're going to cover some interesting information. Now, I use the word Negro a lot. I'll use it until my eyes rot. I don't care, all right? And the reason I use it, my own personal reason for using the word Negro, is that no other culture, people, nation, tribe will touch it. Thank God. I mean that. You know, I mean, they've hijacked Black American. I saw a white dude tell me he was a Black American. I ain't lying. He had dreadlocks on, so he was trying. I don't know. Then I saw, the Blackasians. I myself have a Blaxican. That's a Negro mixed with a Mexican. It's my daughter, right? But the root cause of it all seems to be the terminology that only appears to, apply to us. And that's Negro. The ones at the back of the bus. But this publication puts it in good frame. Now, J.A. Rogers, this is an old publication, folks. You want this. You want to order this. You want to ask for this. You want to hit up my email, and you want to request this. This is a heck of a publication. All right. He's written a few things. And W.E.B. Du Bois, and I think I've read one or two books about him, or this book itself has said, no man living has revealed so many important facts about the Negro as Rogers. Now, I need you to share and let your friends know about this, because this is going to get deep. There are a lot of illustrations in this publication. All right. So we're going to jump past this. There he is. Negroes, nature knows no color line, and comes at the right moment. The United Nations has announced a history of mankind going back to 300,000 BC, on which 1,000 of the world's leading historians are working. Care must be taken that the Negro isn't given the usual treatment in this history. Nature knows no color line will make such an oversight more difficult. Folks, this publication has been kept out of the hands of the Negro nation. You have been conditioned to consider the term Negro in a negative light. Nearly all of us to our own detriment and plight. Now, that's a Negro right there, J.A. Rogers. He's engaged continuously in research on the Negro since when? 1915. Published himself his first book, From Superman to Man. From Superman to Man. Well, that is an interesting title. We're going to look into that, From Superman to Man, 1917. But it was refused by the publishers, we can imagine, if you know what I mean. Wrote and published his second book, As Nature Leads, in 1919. And began writing for the Negro Press in 1920, and has been doing so since. So we need to take particular attention to this, because for early in the time and after slavery, the Emancipation Proclamation, and during Reconstruction, and in the early 1900s, the word and the term Negro carried on into the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. It began to wane off, and in somewhere, somehow, we became African Americans. I don't know how we became Africans. I just don't know. I'm going to go ahead and yell so you tuned into the show, you know. Africa, Africanus, the individual which the continent is named after, has no association with anybody black. Unless he himself is black, which might be. I don't know, but that'd be whack. Anyway, we are not Africans. Africa is a continent full of many countries that are filled with Ugandans, Ghanaians, you name it. I'm just saying, right? And the word term Negro, that nomenclature, that which is within our connected nature, should be embraced within this so-called race of displaced Hebrews. For God's sake. So please don't run from the word Negro. That is what you are. And I'm going to make sure that you understand the terminology needs to go far, because in this book, as we take a look, I guarantee your mental will be shook. Yeah, the trainer, I'm moving on. The trainer's telling me to stop mentally. Don't judge me. All right, here we go. Well, that's more of his bona fides. I ain't reading all that. I got bad eyes. So, nature knows no color line. And look what it says. Research into the Negro ancestry in the white race. Oh, we about to make some real anger come out their face. No, seriously, folks. You in the right place, huh? Nature knows no color line. Research into the Negro ancestry in the white race. Folks, the proof may be right here in our face by J.A. Rogers, author again, From Superman to Men, Sex and Race, World's Great Men of Color, etc., etc. Whoa, Victor Hugo. Oh, you know who Victor Hugo is, right? Don't make me. Beauty, thou wild, fantastic ape, who dost in every country change thy shape. Here black, here brown, here tawny, and here they're white. That's Abraham Lincoln, just so you know. But Victor Hugo said, thou art white and I am black, but day must join with night to bring forth the dawn and the twilight, which are more beautiful than they. I'm sure he's got a lot more to say. So Helga M. Rogers, I'm sure is J.A. Rogers' wife. There they are in Florida, where they spent their life. All right, let's back up here a little bit. All right, so we're going to go over some of these chapters. All right, and this ain't the time for any damn laughter. You get that goddamn grin off your faces. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. All right, thanks again for tuning in, but here's what we got. All right, contents. Where did the color problem originate and why? Well, that first chapter sure caught my eye. I'm going to do this all day. Second chapter, if you will. Color prejudice among whites themselves. This is something we're not conscious of. But the caste system within the Caucasian system is a system, I think a lot of them missed them. I like that one. That landed well. Negroes in ancient Europe and Greece. Negroes in ancient Europe and Greece. That's going to be a good chapter, to say the least. Whites and blacks in ancient Rome. Uh-oh. Racial intermixture in Spain and Portugal. Y'all hold on to your hats. Wait till we get to that. The Negro as more aristocratic European families. Whites and blacks in Greece, Turkey, Italy, and Germany. Negro ancestry in the French. Where? Negro ancestry in the Anglo-Saxons. There it is there. Negro ancestry in white America. The recent mixed marriages. We have an appendix, the miscellany of race and mixture, and then an appendix on general miscellany and an index. Well, that is. So that's what we're going to go over. And you know what? Here's the reason we're going to get to this biz, all right? Let me tell you what's happening, folks. Let me tell you what's happening over in the place they call the Middle East. While they go about their business, to say the least, they are ignoring everyone except themselves. And I mean themselves, on themselves, by themselves, with themselves. They are now so self-absorbed into the myopic inner vision of who they are, caught up in the mental misaligned place that they were left in. And to everybody's grace, I mean that, they were put in a place and given quite a bit before they were, debriefed. And that's about it. And they claim to be associated with you and me, and that's a problem. And that's a problem that we need to resolve. First things first, what is a Negro? And that's exactly where this book will go. So as we continue, I ask again that you like, subscribe, share. If you want to support this effort, look down below right there and you will see a way to do such. And you don't have to give too much. But please do something to support the effort, because this is what I do for a living now. All right, here we go. Until I find something else somehow. All right, folks. Chapter 1, we're going to skip over the preface and the intro and all that and just get on with the show. So, yeah, I call that. Here we go. Let's get a little, there we go, magnification. Chapter 1. So we're going to get through this, and before I'm done, you're going to understand why I use the term Negro so. I will use the term until I gotta go. Until we get everything else straight. And by that time, who knows, it might be too late. Where did the color problem originate and why? The two varieties of humanity which have intermixed the most and longest are the so-called Negro and Caucasian. Whoa. They don't start any evasion, do they? Let's start that again. The two varieties, and that's because it's misspelled, two varieties of humanity which have intermixed the most and the longest are the so-called Negro and Caucasian. I added that. There is some evidence that they made it in prehistoric times, that a Negro or Negroid, people inhabited Europe when it was joined to Africa and was still tropical. Now, this is new information. And before I present this to the Negro nation, let me just say again, I use the word Negro every damn day. And I need you to understand why. That's what I say. I've latched on to the term. Maybe now you might learn. All right. Some evidence that they made it in prehistoric times that a Negro or Negroid people inhabited Europe when it was joined to Africa and it was still tropical. As for the historic period, or about 8,000 years, there is abundant evidence they did, especially in the Americas since Columbus. In so-called racial intermixture, there are usually two forces: exogamy or outbreeding and endogamy or inbreeding. Now, you Negroes need to pay attention to this, because there's not one point I'll try to not miss. And let me have you understand this. They didn't want us to read, but more importantly, they didn't want us to read with understanding. They didn't want us to read with comprehension. This is the reason I read to my brothers and sisters. Just thought I'd mention. Some of you don't have time to read, so I just do this, so kind of fills the need. So please give to the edifices below, so you can continue to enjoy the Doug Rice Show. Okay, DeTrain, I'm on. However, in those lands, in colonial lands, the first is called miscegenation, the second, race purity. Now let's read that one more time. In so-called racial intermixture, there are usually two forces, folks. Exogamy or outbreeding. That's exogamy, making it out, right? Endogamy or inbreeding, okay? And in colonial lands, the first is called miscegenation, the second, race purity. However, in those lands, as in all lands where one's partner in marriage is not selected by his parents, like and dislike generally determine one's choice of a mate. Which qualities attract or repel are quite beyond precise definition. So much depends upon the individual, regardless of race, caste, or religion. As Shakespeare said, strange is it that our bloods of color, weight, and heat poured all together would quite confound distinction, yet stand off in differences so mighty. Ooh, I do like that one. Some of these mighty differences are not all physical. They are economic, social, educational, and religious also. Any of the latter can operate as strongly as the racial, which is supposed in colonial or former colonial lands to be the strongest of all objections. Yes, the peculiar thing about miscegenation is that some of its most vociferous objectors practice it. In certain colonial and former colonial lands, as in the United States, South Africa, and the West Indies, color of skin, which is accepted as normal in Europe, where the population is white, or Central Africa, where it is black, is a mighty difference in influencing not only mating life, but in some of its most unexpected phases. For instance, the matter of the blonde and the brunette among white women. When one reads in American papers of a man having an affair with some gorgeous girl, she is always blonde. What? Now, this is written in 1920 or whatever. Whoa. Always blonde. Let me take that out of there so you can see. All right, here we go. Interesting. When brunettes are mentioned, that's interesting. I've not heard that before. When brunettes are mentioned, it is almost with some sort of apology. Is this depreciation of the white brunette an extension of the prejudice against the Negro's color? Whiteness of skin has become a symbol of purity and fine Christian living. Wash me and I shall be whiter than snow, runs the hymn. Thus, the more bleached the skin, the more bleached the character. Negroes, albinos, not included, of course. But whatever be the reason, the blondes are raved over in America, the brunettes aren't. However, in the Scandinavian lands, where As one visitor remarked, blondes are a dime a thousand. Blonde skin and hair count for no more than does black among the blacks of Central Africa or yellow among the Chinese. Unmixed blacks in Scandinavia, I have noticed, attract attention and are usually welcome. They offer some variety to the color scheme in certain villages in the West Indies where the people are dark. I've noticed similar welcome given to a white visitor for the same reason. Is color in sexual selection a factor only in colonial and former colonial lands? Evidently not. It probably goes back to the time when variety of skin coloring began to appear in the human race, or many hundreds of thousands of years ago. Since the first human beings were all the same color, it is clear that difference of color of skin is an important factor in human evolution. Did you hear that? Since the first human beings were all of the same color, it is clear that difference of color of skin is an important factor in human evolution. All beings except albinos, have some degree of color in their skin. There is melanin in the skin of most beings. Another question, when and where was color first used as a social, economic, and political factor? Many who have given thought to that say it started with the invasion of the dark men's lands, Asia, Africa, America, by the whites in the 15th century. Lord Cromer, distinguished statesman, thought, however, that the question had never been completely examined. I am not aware, he said, that any competent scholar has ever examined into the question of the stage in history at which difference of color acquired the importance it now possesses as a social and political factor. I think he is right. If it has been done, I have not seen it. So the question there, if I pause for a moment, if you care, is that the color spectrum, the caste system, was a gradual infusion into the global society. But I take that one step further, and let me tell you why. There had to be a kind of color scheme change within the population of the earth. And the reason being is that these folks are thinkers and since birth, and it may have been put in their mind that it would be much easier to find a slave who was intertwined in a population, save the color of his skin that identifies him from other nations. And so to me, it seems to see that, well, a color spectrum, the skin change had to be a part of how they rearranged the power structure of the earth. And I think the skin change is how white supremacy was given its birth. Okay, we'll stick to the book. The first recorded instance of color prejudice I've been able to find is in India, caste system of India. Some 5,000 years ago, when the Aryans invaded the valley of the Indus and found there a black people, the Dasyas or Dasyas. Whoa, did you hear that, folks? Now, I want you to understand as we put this together, the Indian population, the Indian culture petitioned within this country to be identified as Caucasian. And now we understand it was a result of an invasion of the Aryan nation. And there it is right there in black and white, if I might coin a phrase. Yeah, okay, all right. In any case, we find very clear evidences of it in Aryan writings, in their own writings. In the Rig Veda, Indra, their national god, is depicted as blowing away with supernatural might from the earth and from the heavens the black skin, which Indra hates. Hymn 42:1 tells of driving the black skin far away. The blacks were called Anasas, noseless people. Damn them. And this book tells how Indra slew the flat-nosed barbarians. Well, you ain't nothing. I'm just joking. All right, so now we're beginning to get a bit more in-depth in this show. I like this. All right. So India's caste system was based on color. The word varna, caste, literally means color. Arya, varna, white skin. Krishna, varna, black skin. The Aryans of India, says the Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics, prided themselves on their fairer skins and more aquiline features, and held in derision the black color and flatter physiognomies, that's a hard one, of the Aborigines, regarded them much as conquering whites regarded blacks in Africa. So let's pause for the cause just for a moment. Okay, so how do we frame that, folks? How do we name that? That is an impressive factoid and one that we cannot avoid. Interesting, the Aryans of India. So examining that further, can you imagine what a white supremacist might feel if the terminology he uses was there to reveal? I wonder what he would do. He'd probably find something else to shout. Boo-hoo. Thanks, however, to time, the Muslim invasion of the 11th century prejudice weakened. Aryan and Dazu and Negro and white Muslims from Africa and the Near East amalgamated into the present Indian population. Pay attention! Wake up! Share this with your friends. If you got enemies, make up. I'm going to read that again because it's important. Okay? Thanks, however, to time and the Muslim invasion of the 11th century, color prejudice weakened. How? Aryan, Dazu, and Negro and white Muslims from Africa and Near East amalgamated into who? The present Indian population. Later, the incoming of the Europeans did much to revive that racist sentiment, that prejudiced sentiment. Why do they have to be so racist? Why do they have to be so hate-filled of anything that is melanin-filled? We'll find out. The next evidence of it I have been able to find is as in an ancient Egypt. Gerald Massey, perhaps the greatest of all authorities on ancient Egyptian lore, said, on the monuments, the dark people are commonly called the evil race of Cush. But when the Ethiopian, oh God, they want me to go way down here. What do they have to do here? Eliminate, look at that. The Ethiopians, I can't do that, but when the Ethiopian elements dominates the dark people retort by calling the light complexions the pale, degraded race of Arvad. Now that's interesting. So each are calling each other the just horrible names, whatever, right? But each of them, of course, are kind of the same. Interesting. But this prejudice of fair for dark and the converse was, it is safe to say, never nearly as strong as in India. And remember, folks, this is where Kamala Harris reigns from. The prejudice of fair for dark and the converse was, it is safe to say, never nearly as strong as in India. The whites did not come in any considerable number to Egypt until the Ptolemaic invasion of the 3rd century BC, by which time intermixture had already taken firm root, or any appreciable degree of color prejudice, as I shall show later. The third instance of color prejudice is to be found in the rabbinical writings. What? Let me take a sip of coffee real quick. Y'all need to absorb that because it's about to get thick. Well now, let me reread that. The third instance of color prejudice, is to be found in the rabbinical writings. The early rabbis did very definitely and abundantly say that a black skin was the result of a curse on Ham by Noah. Well, damn, by show. The signs of this curse said certain rabbis were of black skin, misshapen lips, and twisted hair. Oh, man. Well, there it is right there. The Bible says the curse was placed on Canaan, Ham's son, but some rabbis said it was placed directly on Ham. Rabbi Hujah said that he came forth from the ark black-skinned. This would mean that Ham, who, darn it, they're not going to make me do that. They're not going to make me do that. Ham, who, oh, look at that. Look at that. Negroes in coats of arms, family of nobles. Folks, look at this, man. Look at this. I told you. Look at this. John, I am impressed. Let me go to the next one. Had gone into the ark. Let me go back. So, I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. Very interesting. I'm not all of this. This would mean that Ham, who, and then we go through this, Negroes in coats of arms. Look at that. That is amazing. Look at this, folks. 1856, 1860, Negroes, noble families. We're about to get into some serious depth. I'm going to go this show as long as I can. This is amazing, man. All right, so Negroes, and let's get back to it because I know where I'm at. Whoops. Negroes had gone into the ark fair-skinned, had undergone this change of color in the only 190 days that had been in the ark. Ham, it happens, had been guilty of some sexual infraction while in there from having intercourse with his wife to sodomy. Really? Really? I mean, I'm not saying you don't know this, but why? And I'm not even saying you do, but why repeat? And if you're real repeating it, dear God, what? But it's not even true, so let's keep going. I don't know. We'll figure it out. The right show. Talbot Odd, French anthropologist, thinks too that the rabbis of the first century were the first to stress differences of race and color. Race as we now use it, he says, was unknown in far antiquity, at least in the West. Did you hear that, folks? Because he said it best. He correctly notes that Aristotle, father of natural history, and Hippocrates, father of medicine, did not mention race, though both studied anatomy and the then known varieties of the human race, including the Negro. Do you know your central specialized place in creation, Negro? I say it to your face. You are chosen. Okay, let's just stop. The Greek had two distinct divisions of humanity, Greek and barbarian, or citizens and alien. The Greek had two distinct divisions of humanity. Two, not one, two. Greek and barbarian, or citizen and alien. We're about to get into the weeds. An Athenian who married an alien, regardless of color, was sold into slavery. It was for a long time the same in Rome. Race is based on color, and physique is, in fact, comparatively recent. The King James Bible of the 17th century does not mention it. Shakespeare used it only for family lineage and contests. So also do the first English dictionary by Nathaniel Bailey in 1736, and the second by Dr. Samuel Jocks Johnson in 1750. To quote Tabadon, in the first century, when Christianity was beginning to seat itself in Rome, the doctrine of a separate creation for whites and blacks was defended by the Babylonian rabbis and later by Emperor Julian. In 415 AD, when one council was debating whether the Ethiopians was descended from Adam and the theory they weren't was making progress, St. Augustine in his City of God intervened and declared that no true Christian would doubt that all men of no matter what color, form, or height were the same protoplasmic origin. Okay, St. Augustine said that. All right. Whoa, did not know that. Emperor Julian, the apostate, said on race, for different natures must have existed in all those things that among the nations were to be differentiated. Thus, at any rate, it is seen, if one observes how different in their bodies are the Germans and Scythians from the Libyans and Ethiopians. The first were whites, the latter two blacks. Also, let me see if I missed anything, because I want to make sure I missed nothing. Nope, those are references. All right. We need to focus on that for a minute because this is a fascinating tale. Now, race is intricately involved in what's going on today. And I'm going to go ahead and say it because I got a lot to say. This war that they're raging over in Israel is nothing more than a race war. I'm going to say it again. The war in Israel is a race war. It's nothing more than white skin against dark skin, because you can see the players are very, very differentiated in that sin. Sorry, it's true. Now, how did this separation occur? It looks like we're looking at it, and there it is right there. But it's a gradual and very subtle infusion to kind of contribute to the confusion and also the superior illusion. But I gotta say, in an implantation of this racist nature on their mental, it's left a contusion. Oh yeah, I was gonna complete the thought. This is interesting. This is an interesting look into how we got here. And the reason this book, Nature Knows No Color Line, available upon request or donation, please give. I'm begging you, Negro Nation. Hey, I do this every day now, and I do have bills to pay now, but I will ask. My wife has said, ask. Other shows ask for support. I need your support, Negroes, and I'm going to ask right in the middle of the show because you're listening. Hey. And so if you would kindly use the Cash App, preferably, to show your support, that would be fine, and I wouldn't say no. All right, let's get on with the show. All right, so here we find right here Rome, the doctrine. These I don't understand these Roman emperors who have dictated these things. They've never stopped just telling folks what to do and how's it going to go. You know, it's amazing. All right. Also, in a letter to a priest, he said that facts bear witness that many men came into the world at once. I shall maintain elsewhere and precisely, but for the moment, it will be enough to say this much, that if we were descended from one man and one woman, it is not likely that our laws would show such divergence. Nor in any case is it likely the whole earth was filled with people by one man. Nay, not even if the woman used to bear many children at a time to their husbands like swine. So they're making their conclusions here. St. Augustine replied that all humans, beings, even monsters, so-called freaks of nature, were of the stock of Adam's or Noah's sons, and that moreover is anywhere born of a man that is of a rational mortal animal, no matter what unusual appearance he presents in color, movement, sound, nor how peculiar he is in some power, part, or quality of his nature. No Christian can doubt that he springs from a single protoplast. He added all the varieties of mankind, unquestionably traced their pedigree to that one first father of all. Where did these people go? Where? Oh, they were killed off, just so you know. As a result of this dispute, monogenism, got it. As a result of this dispute, monogenism, or a single origin for the human race, became a fixed Christian doctrine. And says Torpignon, more than one doubter paid the supreme penalty for disbelief. The fourth stage in the development of color prejudice seemed, therefore, to have occurred in Rome of the first century as a phase of the fight between Christianity and paganism. The worship of the demons, effectively. So we're about to see how color came into the spectrum. Christianity, the new religion, decided that of one blood God made all the peoples of the earth, and that all men were brothers in Christ. Moreover, the earliest Christians pictured the Virgin Mary and Christ as black, both being an evolution of the worship of Isis and Horus, which was once common in Rome. Very good. Before proceeding to the fifth stage in the growth of color prejudice, let us endeavor to see why the rabbis made the curse on Ham of black skin. Listen, now let me go ahead and connect this before we dig in. This is important, folks. Again, please share, like, subscribe, support this effort. So where did the rabbis come from? How did this infusion of paganism be acceptably and collectively, connectedly put into what seemingly appeared to be one person, is the descendant, or everyone is descended from one person, because we know that's true. So again, the rabbis and their descendants began this infusion early. And then they were enjoined, the pagans enjoined and filled the ranks of Judaism, if you will, Judaism. It's an interesting confluence of occurrences, one behind the other historically, folks. I'm trying to frame what we've read over the last few days and how the Ukrainians came from Khazaria. And now they're about to use this connective tissue to tell us how the pagan influence began in Rome. And we can imagine how it just wasn't left alone. The influence continued with the insertion of the Khazarians. You see how that connects? And that's why we have a problem in the Middle East right now. That's why okay, anyway, I'm getting back to it. I hear you. Let's go. All right, so all right, before proceeding to that again, and the growth in color prejudice, let us endeavor to see why the rabbis made the curse of Ham of black skin. Oh my goodness, let's dig in. This is certain. Next to the Aryans and the Jews were more color conscious than any of the ancients. The rabbis, next to the Aryans, the Jews, were color conscious more than any of the ancients. Why? They had been slaves to the Egyptians and the Ethiopians and were described in their legends as Negroes. Whoa, watch the tissue connect. Again, after they had established themselves in Palestine, where they were twice invaded by Egyptians and the Ethiopians. Shishak, Ethiopian ruler of Egypt, ravaged the land, plundered Solomon's temple, and took great number of Jews slaves to Egypt. Damn. Another Ethiopian king, Zerah, who came with a host of 1,300 chariots, was beaten off. All right. Here we go. Another one. Nobles. Let me back up. Okay, so they do have an association with their enslavement as a Negro nation in Egyptian times. Now you understand why these Ukrainians had taken control of Jerusalem on their minds. Let's dig here and figure out what else we'll find. Coats here. Coats, families, names of Negro origin. I didn't see that back there in the back away here. Families, let me move this here. Boom. Hopefully, there we go. So families with names of Negro origin, Upper Holland Center. These are families with names of Negro origin. So Maurice, Graf Kortowski, Graf, it says, Gerbenvilla, Bobest, Zithavia. Those are Negroes. Those are Negro names. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Do you understand that these are Negro names with Negro crests? What is good? More, M-O-H-R, more, of course, that would be, folks, you can obtain this PDF for your own. Please show support to this show, please. What is it? $ The Doug Rice Show. For God's sake, I gotta support this effort. I gotta keep going. I'm gonna go over this. This is a book that most folks will never be able to take a look, especially Negro folks, and their minds would get shook. This is it. This is it. All right, so, wow, interesting. All right, so let's move on, because I thought that was cool. Oh, wow, even more to make us drool. Coats of arms of a German cardinal. Note the crown on the Negro's head. You heard what I said. Another Negro's court, Germany and Portugal. A slow transition occurred in Europe. We'll get into that. It's like pancake syrup. I'm just going to stop doing that. I will not. More. I love it. Spain. This one, coats of arms of Kammersburg, Austria. St. Peter, jet black Negro, and founder of the Catholic Church, is shown as a jet black Negro. Let me read this. It says the center left, you can see it down here. Arms of Aragon, Spain. Center right, arms of Kammersburg, Austria. St. Peter, foremost saint and founder of the Catholic Church, is shown as jet black Negro. And over here we got the Black Madonna and Christ that keeps popping up, sorry, of Altenburg, Bavaria. This is amazing. Folks, Negroes in coats of... Do you know why I call us Negroes? No one else is a Negro. We are of royal birth. We are of royal descent. We are of royal lineage. We are the royal tribes. Negroes, consider yourself royalty, just like them white folks do over in Europe, man. Only more so because they replaced us and put in place their own sense of royalty, and they're not even of the origin of God Almighty. So how could they be royalty? Look closely. Don't look away. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to find something to say. All right, we're done. Let's go. All right, well, you know where we left off, right? They joined whoever, right? We'll just get back at it because I'm not going all the way back. Okay, let's get back at this here. All right. Who joined with the English, French, Germans, and other crusaders in Spain and Palestine, as well as slaves, mistresses, and even wives, brought from Spain and the Near East. Negroes even then were common in the homes of great lords. Having them was fashionable. And fourth, American blacks of the Middle Ages, or having us around, wait. Did they just say having us around was fashionable? You mean like if somebody had Kevin Hart in their house, right? Or if like somebody had Jay-Z just kicking it, you know what I'm saying? You know. Or, you know, somebody had Beyonce, Queen Bee, y'all better see. Up in the house, you know, because we got that flavor that they so much savor. They want to be around us, man. They loved hearing us sing Negro spirituals in the plantation. Let me tell you something. The master would get out there on the porch while we was picking cotton and our skin was dry and rotten. And, you know, they'd be just listening to us sing Swing Low, Swing Chariot, you know, till one of us grow tired and drop dead. And that's it. Don't make me start. We are Negroes. We are the royal tribe of Judah for the most part, but in every sense and in every part where Negroes are, we are royalty. You better understand what I'm saying, and you better understand that I'm not playing. When you look upon another Negro face, remember and consider it. It's a royal face. Let's get back to reading. I hear Trina's like, hurry up and shut up. Okay. All right. Where were we? Okay, got it. I got it. Africans, for instance, having us in your house, great lords, having them was fashionable. What has changed? What? Nothing has changed, man. You know, I mean, everybody want to be on the show, dog. You know, it's true. All right, for African blacks in the Middle Ages or later, let me just start here. For instance, there were Negro members of the Hanseatic League, great mercantile guild of the 14th and 15th centuries. The patron saint of the guild was Saint Maurice, a Negro, foremost Catholic saint of Germany. The ornate building of the guild with its Negro heads still stand in Riga and Revel, Estonia. As was shown, some of these Negroes with Negroes in their coats of arms took names, signifying their origin, but others, then adopted into families, took the names of the latter, or even the other names. Thus might be explained the presence of Negroes in coats of arms of hundreds of other families. Are you listening, Negroes? You are Negroes. They tried to hide this from you. They didn't want you to read. And let me just tell you something. At the front of the book, at the front of the list, they didn't want this book in front for you to get the gist. No, they did not. My God, that is amazing. That's amazing stuff. Notes on Othello. This is interesting, folks. Listen. Othello's race, since the days of Edmund Kean, have been in dispute. Here are some facts to be remembered as regards this. Shakespeare lifted his plot largely from the Hacatomathi by Cinthio, an Italian romancer. Cinthio only called his character one character, the Moor, and spoke of his negreza, blackness of skin. To the Moor, Shakespeare gave a name, Othello, which he said is to be of German origin. Sorry. As I said before, the union of white women of high birth and black men has been a popular theme since very early times. On the continent, there was little or no prejudice to so-called mixed races. But in England, then engaged in capturing Negroes and selling them in the Americas, color prejudice began to develop. You want me to read that? You want me to read that again? Listen carefully. On the continent, there was little or no prejudice to so-called mixed marriages. The continent, Europe. But in England, the island of England, because they were engaged in capturing who? Negroes, specific Negroes, not just any Negroes, but those. Color prejudice began to develop. There are clear evidences of this in certain of Shakespeare's contemporaries, as George Herbert's A Fair Nymph Scorning a Black Boy's Courting Her, John Cleveland's The Blackamoor and Her Loves, Christopher Marlowe's Lust's Dominion, Peele's Tragical Battle of Alcazar, and in Shakespeare's own Merchant of Venice, where Portia dismisses her dark-skinned suitor, the Prince of Morocco, with "Let all of his complexion choose me so." It must be remembered that while the scene of Othello is Venetian, its psychology is English. I was going to say something else. Now I take it that Shakespeare, seeing the union of Negroes and white women, and also the growing prejudice against Negroes, made Othello a Negro for dramatic effect. Moreover, as I said, the subject of the black man and the white woman had not only been an alluring one long before him, but the two of the contemporaries, Peele and Marlowe, had already written successful miscegenation plays. Shakespeare describes Othello's color and race so clearly that it is only those who read present conditions into those of centuries ago could say that he would not be guilty of so great an artistic error as to make him a Negro. E.M. Stahl says, "Black he certainly is and a Negro." Balsensperger, who goes thoroughly into the subject, says, "Othello is a Negro and a Christian." S.A. Tannenbaum, Shakespeare's description of Aaron the Moor in Titus Andronicus, his use of Negro and Moor are synonymous terms in The Merchant of Venice, and Iago's insistence on the unnaturalness of Desdemona's choice combined with the many references to Othello's blackness must compel the conviction that the poet with true artistry intends us to think of Othello, Black Othello, as a Negro. Now, I'm going to unpack that a little bit because it's really, they've done everything they can to hide Negro's place in history. We've gone from Negro to slave to the word I can't say to Negro, Black, African American, and back. We've gone to every term that I consider whack. But Negro is unmoving, unchanging. There's no success in rearranging what it means, what it meant, what they said back then. You got to use Negro in terms of us Negro men. This is important. This is very important. Let me explain why. The war is predicated on Israel claiming to be Negroes more than anything else. The Israelis over in the state of Israel are more than anything else murdering and killing thousands of Palestinians predicated on the notion and false belief and assertion that they are Negroes. Not that they're Hebrews, Israelites, or they believe that they are Negroes. They tie into being Negroes. Somehow, they turned from black to white. And they hijacked us in the dark of night and also in plain sight of day. And I'm just going to say it because I ain't going to play. Let's move forward. So this is important. This is deep stuff, man. This is, Lord have mercy. I think I lost my place. No, I didn't. Did I? All right, I did. No, I didn't. Here we go. DJ Snyder, am I here? Yeah, DJ Snyder says a question has been raised concerning the degree of Othello's Africanism. Wait, up here. I'm good. Relax. Relax. I don't know where I'm at. Now I take it and shake machine. There it is. Black certainly is a Negro. Oh, I was there. There we go. DJ Snyder says, I'm there. A question has been raised concerning the degree of Othello's Africanism, about which extreme opinions have been held in both directions. But he was not a Hottentot on the one hand, nor a Caucasian on the other hand. He was, however, born in Africa, and his physiognomy, I'll get that, is thoroughly African. But the point which the poet emphasizes so often is so strongly is the difference of race between him and Desdemona. He is her equal in rank, for he comes of royal lineage. I hope your phones break. He's of royal lineage. He is the peer of her family in honor and fame, for he is the most distinguished man in Venice. The sole difference, which is selected as the ground of collision, is race. The further background, see Winstanley L. Othello as the Tragedy of Italy, and such earlier works as The Touchstone, I'm trying to get my mouse, sorry, of Politics, by Bocculus, in the newfound politics where the Spaniards are described as a black people, ruling a white one. Whoa! Finally, Bouguerat gives what I consider a clinching argument. In his Civilization of the Renaissance in Italy, he mentions a noted Negro, who lived in Venice and thinks he might have been the original of Othello. So the next chapter in the part on Italy. See the next chapter. Notes on Negroes in Roman Britain. Are you listening? The notitia dignitatum in partibus occidentus, compiled by copyists of the Middle Ages from accounts of the Roman Empire up to the 4th century AD, has this in the part dealing with Britain. In Britain, he, Emperor Septimius Severus, was proceeding to the next resting place, a certain Ethiopian of the military class, famous among the clowns and noted for his jokes. Came up to him with a crown made of cypress. Middle class here undoubtedly infers the presence not only of Negro soldiers, but of Negroes in other occupations. All right. So, what do we got? That's a lot. What do we know? This is the Doug Rice Show. I like this. We're going to go, again, we're going to go tomorrow. I'm going to try to bring them as much sorrow as I can. The information that they've been hiding from the Negro nation is, it's tragic, man. You know, again, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep saying it. They didn't want Negroes to read. The only people on the planet Earth that they wanted to remain ignorant are Negroes. And you need to understand that they went into every other society and did everything they could to teach them to read like they should. And us, well, they put us back on the bus and just didn't give us a book to read, Gus. I mean, why? Why would it be so important that Negroes not read? An answer to that, I need. There's a reason they didn't want us to learn how to have any kind of comprehension. And this is the reason, when I'm on the topic and I mentioned. I'm going to go, folks. Been an hour. I've done the show, folks. And you know, folks, I'm going to leave you with the best I can. This is a lot to unpack. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to continue. And I'm going to give you a preview because I'm just going to read this book. And the reason I'm going to read it is because it's going to leave you shook. All right? So I don't have a problem letting you take a look. Here it is. Tomorrow's effort, we're going to start with chapter 7. We're going to talk about the mixture of whites and blacks in Greece, Turkey, Italy, and Central Rome. So tune in tomorrow and join us as we cover this information. I have to try to do what I can to pay bills and do all the rest of the things to solve my ills. Again, I hope you guys appreciate this effort. I do thank you for showing up. Also, remember that Twidware is our sponsor, and let us help fill his cup. All right? Twidware, twidware.com. Twidware, this is Doug Rice saying it twice. Doug Rice signing off. You guys know I got to go. Thanks again for tuning into the show. All right, you guys have a good one. See you. Bye-bye. What? Hey, come here. Darn it, forgot again. Look, folks, they're coming unglued. They're coming off the rails. It's all gonna fall so without fail. Where you gonna be, Negro? Where are you gonna be? What you gonna do? Well, just listen to what I'm gonna tell you, okay? Okay. If you gotta be out there in them white faces, do me a favor, get that goddamn grin off your faces. Yeah, I said faces twice. It was just something I thought nice. Plus, I gotta go. It's the Doug Rice Show. Have a good one.